I introduced the film at Sundance, and Holly, who was the then president, and Martha Adams, the creative director, who's still the creative director, we spoke about how we were going to go globalize and basically achieve scale with this model of creating awareness. The whole concept of telling this film was to create awareness so that people feel moved enough to want to do something. You can't do anything if you don't have information and knowledge, because that is key and that is gold. So we decided that we were going to find ways in order to go global. And the first thing I said to them was, what about India? What about my home country? What about my home, actually, where I feel there's much to be done, where I feel the country is actually ready, we're technologically getting super advanced. Everybody watches TV. I just read statistics that on a daily basis, it's about 2.5 or 3 hours of television that is watched in every household. And yes, and our youth are raring to go. Our media is raring to go. What about India? And I had no idea they would take me seriously. It was taken seriously, and rightfully so, Girl Rising India was launched.
Well, we have Needy Doobie, maybe, I think, is backstage.
Yes,
we have the point person for Girl Rising India with us. Needy, join us, please.
Come on in, Needy. Woo! I have to say, she's my boss. I am so proud to have a boss like her. She's a human rights lawyer, our country director of Girl Rising India, and when we came into India as a dream, we completely forgot that the 1.2 billion population would need to have someone who championed it day in and day out with every breath. And that person for us has been Nidhi.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So tell us, so how has the rollout been, and how's the reception been here in India?
Girl Rising, like Frida was talking about, it's such a beautiful dream project. And I think it is all about, like we've been talking about something since morning, storytelling for behavior and for mindset change. So like Frida mentioned, we brought it to India last year with a meeting with the Prime Minister, partnering with government, the Beti Bachao Beti Padhao campaign, and also partnering with Star TV, premiered it, and then reached out to millions and millions of people. And very soon realized that we cannot just talk about it at a mass media level. We really have to go on the ground. So we started working in the villages of Rajasthan and Bihar, working with adolescent girls and boys, parents, teachers, religious leaders, sarpanch, all the village elders, and bringing them together, talking about the role of education and getting girls to school. It's really, really inspiring to see that in the last 1 year, we've had, in the Tikri village, Alwar district, Rajasthan, playground where little girls could never step into are playing cricket with boys. And it's, taking the film and the stories from the film, it's just inspiring because it just really touches the heart. Just recently, we launched a campaign where the whole theme of the campaign is about inspiring parents to dream big for their daughters, like they do for their sons. We dream, we rise. And it's beautiful to see how this movement is catching on. And thanks to Frida, and Frida bringing other celebrities, on board, who's giving just so much momentum to the campaign.
It's great. It's great. What you guys do is great. Since we have both of you, we have some questions coming through social media. Maybe you could both address them. This being Google, of course, we've got high tech here, so maybe we'll flash them up on the screen. Let's see. With a survey across Facebook and Twitter. Here's the first one. Do you think brand movements promoting gender equality are actually promoting a bias?
Do you think brand movements, I think you should answer that.
Do you think brand movements promoting gender?
What's the brand
movement? Do you think?
Okay.
It is a little tricky one. I just feel like using any platform, whether brands promoting movements. Personally, I feel any opportunity to promote this cause is a good one. But of course, there is a lot of trickiness about brands promoting equality, whether there is a bias, because we've seen some case studies of that as well. But I would still feel that any opportunity to promote is a good one.
I don't see how equality could be a bias, but
Yeah.
But,
I think there needs to be also consistency. It can't just, when brands promote, I guess, a cause, they're also promoting themselves in a way, which is
Yeah.
not a bad thing. However, when the consistency of it fails, I think that's when there is a loss of faith from consumers, buyers, and from the people they're trying to affect. And I have my own personal experience with a certain brand, which I don't wish to name, but it was a sanitary pad brand that did a test in Uttar Pradesh, and they supplied girls with sanitary pads for about a year, just to test if that would increase the number of girls going to school. And the second year onwards, they couldn't fund the campaign, which it was really surprising. I mean, you're just providing sanitary pads and you're telling me you can't fund it. And it was not a monetary thing, it was just that they needed to expand somewhere else. And so they cut the supply in the second year. So there was this whole group of girls entering puberty, and a couple of girls for a year who had enjoyed the comfort of actually having a sanitary pad and not a cloth, who were just shocked and disappointed and disrupted because of it, because they suddenly felt that this was it. You know, the candy was taken away from them, and that was very disappointing. Yeah.
okay, so if you get into something, stay with it. That's the
Stay with
moral
it.
there. Okay, next question. Why do the words surgeon, cop, pilot, boss, wrestler bring a male face to our minds?
Sorry, why can't you go for that?
We got it right up there.
Oh,
Why do the
okay.
words surgeon, cop, pilot, boss, wrestler bring a male face to our minds?
It is so true. This is the deep-rooted stereotype, you know, that we have, and this is what our campaigns, you know, working towards, just breaking that gender stereotypes. Just last month, actually, we were in the villages in interiors of UP, and we played this little exercise of, you know, what girls and boys wanted to be. And, you know, girls were coming up with this slate and, you know, writing with chalk saying, Prime Minister, surgeon, doctor, and they were boys who, you know, want to be singer, chef, and so it's, you know, it's just so created, but it really need to break. It's a stereotype that we need to break away from.
I guess it goes deep down into the boys don't cry, girls play with dolls.
Exactly, and there's just so much
Stereotype.
pressure, I think, on the boys also.
Yes.
I mean, they're just not supposed to be crying because they're boys.
Yeah.
Watch more Frida's movies than, you know.
Yes, please do. You will be crying.
All right, next question. Speaking of stereotypes, what impact can positive personalities in the limelight have on breaking gender stereotypes? What a perfect segue, your last answer. So,
Well, yes, we can play a very, very important role. I mean, just tonight, for example, you're going to see on stage every possible prominent Bollywood celebrity who's going to go up there and either speak about a cause that they have been supporting. Mr. Bachchan, for example, for years has been talking about the polio campaign, and about 2.5 years ago, India was declared polio-free. But it was his commitment to the cause and his constant dedication in terms of the time, effort, his presence that he gave to the cause that actually, you know, what was the campaign called?
Do
Do
Boond
Boond
Zindagi Ki.
Zindagi Ki, yes. And I think that became synonymous with Mr. Bachchan. So I think there is
so it's going back to the consistency. You talked
consistency.
about staying with
Absolutely,
the cause.
because now, even as of today, I was a child when I would hear that, but even as of today, when the first thing I hear about the polio campaign, the first person who comes to mind is Mr. Bachchan.
Yeah.
And so I do think there is a very important role that you can play, but the lack of consistency can be a real problem. In fact, can also be sometimes negative.
Who's going to the Global Citizen Festival tonight? Raise your hand. All right, well, speaking of consistency, we're going to see these guys talking about these issues. They're very important. It's great to have a platform like this to talk about them. It's great to have a big platform like we're going to have tonight to talk about them. But thank you both for your work
Thank you.
here and around the world. We appreciate it. We
Thank you
appreciate
very
your
much.
time.
Thank you, Nidhi and Frida, for sharing such unique insights with us. And of course, thank you, Mr. Lane, for moderating the discussion.